Hello and welcome back to Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, and in this part we are continuing through Lost Fleet. In the last episode we successfully completed the skateboarding minigame after an awkward jump cut, so now we will be finished gathering the rest of the treasure in Lost Fleet, and then we will be heading on to the next stage in World 3.
Hopefully barring no more jump cuts in sudden
Dude, there are
level.
always more jump cuts.
There will always be more jump cuts, but they do not always lead to 100% level completion.
True. As I said before, like several weeks ago, I don't actually mind Lost Fleet as a level. I actually think that this level itself is actually okay. It's the side activities in here that are annoying. I enjoy the skateboarding gimmick most certainly, but I dislike how it's actually used here. With well, not necessarily how it's used here, but all the shit that you have to do in order to 100% that area. But thankfully, since we're in World 3 now, we have the cheat code for Sparks, so finding the rest of the treasure should be rather simple. Although getting up to and collecting it is not as simple as I make it sound.
Well, it seems to be as simple as obliterating crabs.
It's slightly more complicated than obliterating crabs.
Well, you have to find where the crabs are scuttling. Crabs scuttle.
Yes, crab scuttle.
And they shuttle treasure.
I wouldn't say that they necessarily shuttle treasure, but because you see, the treasure is not actually an interactable object in this game, with the exception of Sparks. Sparks can interact with the gems, and Spyro, teleports them into the infinite pouch when he picks them up, but he doesn't actually interact with gems at all.
Floating elevator?
No, that is technically called a whirlwind.
Well, it's a magical lifting whirlwind.
Yes. As opposed to the push you back into the rest of your party kind of whirlwind. Reminds me of just how terrible Pokemon Gen 1 was.
Well, you gotta suck at something before you're good at something.
Although that is true, did they have to suck so hard at programming specific moves? Whirlwind and Roar literally didn't work.
Well, it was finicky, as I remember. It had like low accuracy or some shit.
No. They had negative priority, and I'm pretty sure in Gen 1 that they flat out didn't work in trainer battles when they were supposed to. But if you use them in the wild, what they did was forced encounters to flee from you.
Right. Okay.
Whereas in trainer battles, what they were supposed to do was forcibly switch out a random member of your opponent's party.
That's true. I definitely did see that in Gen 2, but I think in Gen 1 they did kind of screw that up, making it so that it only works in wild battles.
And there, treasure complete.
Yay.
There are lots of different lists online that you can see all the major problems that Gen 1 has, and there are a lot of them.
Like how speed determines your critical hit probability.
Yep, making Persian like the best Pokemon in the game aside from Mewtwo.
Because Persian knows Slash.
Yep. It makes me wonder how effective Electrode would have been if we had any of the bonus critical hit moves on him. Because Electrode still sucks.
No, Hunter!
Hunter has been kidnapped by Bianca. Unfortunately, we cannot actually interact with him. So we'll have to just go and do the next level. Which I believe we're going to Charm Towers. Yep, Charmed Ridge. That's where we're going next.
Quickly, let us completely forget that Hunter has been captured.
Well, Spyro doesn't know that he's been captured.
Oh, the dramatic irony. We are motivated to be just as informed and just as caring as Spyro is. He's neither informed nor caring.
Hi, Liz. Sorry, you ready for the Romeo and Juliet plotline again?
I'm always ready for a Romeo and Juliet plotline.
Yeah, this is the Romeo and Juliet plotline that actually runs through the entire thing, except for the bad ending, as opposed to parodying it, which they did in World 1.
So this is the cat warriors versus the dog warriors.
No, this is the cat gangsters versus the fairy princesses.
Oh, so not exactly like the Montagues and the Capulets.
Pretty close, honestly. Like the only major differences that I can really see is that the cat warriors have the ability to hire Rhinox.
Well, both of it's going to be kind of hard to tell who's the Montagues and who are the Capulets, except for the allegiances of the male and the female Romeo and Juliet counterparts. I imagine that the fairies are the Capulets because Juliet is probably a female fairy character.
Yep.
So already I get the plot of this level. I like how the levels have plots. Like there are characters who want shit to happen. Spyro makes it happen. The only difference between this and modern games is that like the progress you make on any story thread is linear, and there's only one way you can make the levels end.
While that is most certainly true, you'll find that it's actually slightly more memorable that way. I challenge you to recap the feud between the two warring factions in Skyrim.
That would be the Stormcloaks versus the Imperial Legion.
Yep.
So the Stormcloaks are aligned with Ulfric Stormcloak, and Ulfric Stormcloak is guilty of murdering High King Torrig. And that's what the Imperials. That's why they want Ulfric's head. But the Stormcloaks say, no, we believe in Ulfric Stormcloak's vision for Skyrim. Skyrim should be independent of the Empire, and that is why they are at war. And you can choose to either join the Imperial Legion to defeat Ulfric Stormcloak, or you can join the Stormcloaks to defeat General Tullius, I think is his name, of the Imperial Legion.
And what all happens if you choose to do either of those?
Basically they're counterparts in the same. You have to eventually you have to grab the Jagged Crown treasure and take that either to General Tullius or to Ulfric Stormcloak. However, actually, with that particular quest, if you were aligned with either of them, you could choose to betray them and switch your allegiance by taking the Jagged Crown to the opposite faction. But at the end of each thread, you are killing either the general of the Imperial Legion or the general of the Stormcloaks.
Do you actually have to end that in bloodshed?
Yes, you do.
Man.
Because if you don't do it, then somebody else does. They give you a choice in the matter. Not exactly the best parallel between. Not exactly the best parallel with Romeo and Juliet, because unfortunately there's no Imperial Legion lady who falls in love with a Stormcloak, bruh.
At least as far as you're aware.
As far as we're aware. I would not be surprised if there was a hidden story thread in the game where that actually happens. Yes.
Curse vanilla Skyrim and its vanilla openness.
But there are so many things in an open world. Too many.
Yes, one of them being damned as open world is huge.
It's like a portrait. It's a portrait of the world, especially because you can see a world map that's basically the entire game zoomed out.
Can we snipe that cat wizard?
No, we cannot snipe
Yep,
the...
got him.
Oh. You clipped him. Cheater.
Now the question is, how do we get up there? Because there's a couple of gems on that ridge that we need to go get.
There's a gem. One. And another one.
There we
Yay!
go. And now we can get over there. But what's this? Mo!
Mo! Poor Mo.
Poor Mo.
That is quite a morbid way to end one of the lives of our little dragon babies.
Yes. So, what have you been up to recently, Mr. Cloud?
I started reading commentaries by Pope Francis on modern love according to the Church.
Mm.
It was recommended to me by a customer that, two customers actually who always go to my work pretty frequently, and they mentioned they know that I'm interested in reading the Bible and stuff. So they said, well, read these commentaries and see what you think. And I started reading it. It's okay. It's kind of like if the Pope had written like a college essay. But the Bible is his main source of information, and he's quoting as such.
Right.
It's interesting so far.
Make sure to have your sources cited.
Yes. For those of you who are curious, just look up Pope Francis on modern love in Google. You will probably find the Latin name that the document goes under. I can't tell you what it is right now.
Well, L'amour is French, so it's not that.
It's like Amoris Letitia or some shit.
That sounds about right.
It sounds Latin for I love your titties.
Nah.
There's a lot of
the Pope does not necessarily love your titties, Cloud.
No, he does not. Although he recently condoned that his being interested in my titties in particular from one man to another is perfectly okay in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Yay!
And here we go, the conclusion of the storyline. Princess Amy and Prince Azrael.
What? What, just like that? Like they're...
Yeah, we defeated all the cat wizards, and then Azrael's like, wait, I'm not necessarily affiliated with him, I just want to take my girlfriend away.
They really are like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, they are Romeo and Juliet. This is the Romeo and Juliet stereotype played straight.
And now they have to kill themselves.
Well, no, they don't kill themselves because, a Y10, but they ride away on his flaming hot motorcycle in the sky.
This is one of the greatest things I've seen in a couple weeks. It's like, come with me, my darling.
And so they sailed away, happily ever after, into the endless abyss of sky.
The end. And then
then they caused frame rate drops just to spite me. I rescued you and gave you a honeymoon.
Flying motorcycles of love.
Yes, indeed.
God damn it! It's this guy again.
Hey, Sergeant Bird is cool. The problem is his levels aren't. But yes, in the next part we'll be transferring into the Sergeant Bird section of Charmed Ridge, which is actually okay.
I tell you, man, Sergeant Bird, you got a tough act to follow. I just watched two lovers fly away in a flying motorcycle.
You might like this then. He is here on a date after all.